The Goodyear Welt is not handmade. Can't change my mind about it. Handmade boots use leather insoles and not plastic cardboard stuff. This is a leather insole. Leather insole. Leather insole. Leather insole.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? You're welcome back to Pomo Bespoke. My guy says it can be done, so let's do it. Let's make Goodyear Welted by hand without leather insoles using cardboard stuff. Let's do it. So as you can see, and as you know from previous videos before this, I made this shoe pretty much using the same processes and procedures that you would have used if you were making cemented construction. Only that at the time I'm about to start my bottoming, rather than just build the outsole, I cut this strip of leather like so and glue it to the underside of the shoe. Now I can understand when people say that Goodyear Welted shoes are not handmade. If what they mean is that most Goodyear Welted shoes are made by machines, they'll be absolutely correct. But to say that Goodyear Welted construction can be done by hand is what I'm out here trying to debunk. And I think it is absolutely important that it be debunked. In fact, it is very important that you do Goodyear Welted by hand, especially if you're trying to learn hand-welted construction. Leather insoles are expensive. And before you waste leather insoles and your outsoles and your welts, it might be worth your while to at least try it on cardboard insoles, see and learn the principles involved, know how to curve your welts around the heel and the toes of your last. And then you probably find that you would have a much easier transition to full hand-welted construction with leather insoles, leather outsoles, and all whatnot. Now to my procedure. I first of all put about a 7 mm of skive at the edge of the welt, and then put a groove of about 9 mm to 1 cm on the reverse side of that skive. At the end of it all, I soak the welt in water. So this is the skive at the edge there and the groove on the reverse side. You would also see that I have marked out the underside, that leather strip that I glued at the underside, by about 7 mm apart. Marked stitching distances 7 mm apart. So this is what the welt looks like. It's totally about 2.5 cm in width. Now that groove is about 1 mm into the edge. Now there are different types of welt. You can see that this is a smaller one, a one that has smaller width, and the groove is there. They are expecting you to put the skive by yourself. So all that I will need to do is, first of all, skive off this edge at the tip here. I'll use my jack needles. I have this jack needle which I basically sanded out and use it as a pricking awl just to prick my stitching holes. So you ensure that your welt will cover the perimeter of the shoe that you are intending to welt. And then you see the way I'm pricking in my holes in. You prick it in such a way that it will catch the welt, the upper of the shoe and its lining, and then come out on this side and catch that strip of leather. I'm using, of course, polyester thread, bonded polyester thread, which is a very tough thread. And I could do saddle stitching if I wanted, but I'm just going to go with lock stitch, which is the same kind of stitch that your Goodyear Welted machine will put on your shoe. So spacing my stitches about 70 mm between each other. I'm basically going to lock stitch it all around the perimeter of the shoe. Remember that it is absolutely important that you use vegetable tanned leather welt. If you're in Nigeria and you're wondering where you can get this welt, just go to the part of the market where they sell leather for belts. The guys who cut belts. This is exactly the same leather, the same thickness that leather belts are made of. So you just get and cut them to size. Now as you go around the heel area of your shoe, it is important that you actually form the welt around that heel area so that it will take the curve of the heel, and you do exactly the same thing if you were doing the tip. That's the toe area of your shoe. You can see that I'm basically trying to hammer it into shape. The good thing about vegetable tan leather is that it's almost like clay. You can actually mold it. If you wet it well enough, you can mold it around whatever shape you intend it to take. So I'm going to just go ahead and stitch. I'm not going to bore you with seeing the entirety of my stitching. I'll just put in a few stitches here and there and show you what I'm doing. But the most important thing, like I said, is that you form your welt around your heel. And as you can see, it is very well formed. It is not bent upwards. It is absolutely tangential to the heel side of the shoe. And by the time I'm adding my outsoles, I won't have any problems whatsoever. So let me demonstrate again how this stitch is put. I put my pilot hole using my pricking awl, ensuring that it catches the upper lining and this strip of leather, and then put in my stitch, ensuring that you pull snugly and tightly, and also remembering that the strength of your stitch is not on the independent strength of any one stitch, but the cumulative strength of all of your stitches all put together. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch using the stitching distances that I had pre-marked. It will catch the welt, the upper and the lining, and then catch this strip of leather that I glued under. And try not to prick any holes on your cardboard insole. Right now, you will notice that in machine-made Goodyear Welted construction, this strip of leather that I have at the back here is typically made of a canvas rib that is put on the cardboard insole, sometimes leather insoles. And I think that this is even much more stronger because you have a wider surface area, really, that the rib, what is represented by the canvas rib, is making contact with off the cardboard insole, and that way chances of any part of that rib failing in this case is almost non-existent. So you see that the welt is very firmly put on the shoe, and it is not going anywhere. The next step in this procedure will be to add the outsole, but before then I would of course have to fill this void here with some filler. You could use cork, you could use EVA foam. I'm going to use EVA foam because I can't find cork in the part of the world where I am at. So I'll use EVA foam to fill up that void and add the outsole. As you can see, it can be done by hand. What I will suggest is, in regular hand welted construction, they are typically sewing from this way into the welt. Now, because you have this here in your typical hand welted construction, you have a lip of the upper and the lining already falling out. So sewing from inside to the outside, it's easy to catch that lip. However, using this method, it may make sense for you to go from the outside to the inside. So this way, you are able to ensure that you catch the upper and the lining. Just lift it up a bit. The glue wouldn't be, you see that, look, see that I'm catching the upper, I'll catch the lining. Lift it up a bit from the insole, but its glue to the insole is even not compromised because the entire of this surface area is also held to the insole. So the insole is not compromised in any way. I dare say this probably will be stronger than your regular Goodyear welted construction, being that just have a thin film of canvas just around about this way, whereas in this case you have a very strong bond between the welt, the upper and the lining, and the insole. So this whole thing is forming part of your insole, and it's going to be I don't see a situation where this will fail. This can't fail, because remember, when we're done, we're going to put some filler here, add the insole, and stitch this. Sorry, put some filler here to cover up the space. We'll add a shank, add filler, cover this whole entire thing up, sand it down properly, then put an outsole on it, and then stitch this to that outsole. This will never fail. Your canvas rib can fail, even in hand welted construction when you're doing it with leather. One of those stitches can fail if you don't really do it properly. One of the hold fast if you punched through to you, all of that problem wouldn't be presented here. So I think this makes for a very tidy way of doing it. So you catch, make sure you catch your upper and lining, lift it up a bit, catch the insole leather. That's your pilot hole. Now you can easily go with your stitching awl. Do your stitch, pull it snugly. Even for the outsole, you'd find that I'm going to use a recycled material. I'm going to use recycled tires, and by the time we're done, we'll see what it looks like. But that's going to be the subject of our next video, which I do hope that you will find as interesting as you found this one, if of course you found this interesting. So I hope that I have been able to debunk the assertion that you can't do Goodyear welted by hand. I hope to see you on the next video. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you're not a member of the channel, please subscribe to one of our membership options. Until I see you on the next video, God bless you. Peace.